Oh boy, we're back and I got something to talk about. I just saw this ad, I would bet you not even 10 seconds ago, with this guy on Instagram. And listen, I don't like sit around watching ads. I very, very rarely do that. But for whatever reason, this one caught my attention. So good for him. Anyway, he was like, oh, hey, I'm Joe, I make $7,000 a day and nobody knows who I am. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I think it's cool that you can, have a ton of money and not be on social media. Like, that's cool. I respect it. Quiet wealth, all about it. Basically, his thing was, I just run ads. And I'm like, okay, genius. Like, a lot of people can run ads. But then that got me thinking about kind of this like recurring thing that I wouldn't say that I necessarily hear, but that I see a lot with clients and prospects that come to me. And if you don't know who I am, that's cool too. I don't take offense. My name's Lauren. I do marketing. I've been in business with myself, full on entrepreneur for the past year and a half or so. And I've learned a lot during that time. As someone with a background in books and book publishing, I got my start working with a lot of authors, both fiction and nonfiction. But if you've been around here long enough, you'll know that fiction is my jam. It just scratches my brain for whatever reason more than fiction does. And I was thinking about this comparison between, business versus book, because either way you're trying to sell the thing, right? Or get clients or buyers or whatever. When you write a book, I don't care if you're interested in writing a book or not, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but let's just say hypothetically in this scenario, you wrote a book, you want to run ads on that book. Cool. My take on that is that ads should be a supplement to whatever long-term marketing thing that you're doing. But sometimes, if it works out for people, then they can just only do ads. And that's really great. That's less pressure to feel like you have to do social media and, other types of circus acts to get people's attention. Let's say that you get a lot of foot traffic, you get a lot of clicks and stuff on your book, but it brings you to the page and you're looking at their book and it's got 2 reviews. They're both 5 stars, which is cool. There's just not a lot of social proof around it, but you're an optimist. So let's say that you take a chance on buying this book. I just realized I flipped perspectives. You are not writing the book and buying the book, assuming you're 2 different people. I know you're smart. You can figure this out. You decide to buy it. It comes in the mail. Lo and behold, it's really good. It's awesome. Naturally, you're going to want to tell other people about it. Great. The other scenario with that same sort of foundation is you click on the ad, you come across the book, you buy it, and it's awful. It's just bad. You're not going to want to tell anyone about it. But yet the other guy, the author, the other you, is going to keep running ads because everyone tells them that they made $7,000 in a day running ads for this thing. I think that can be a little misleading, and this is kind of like the truth pill that maybe some people, not necessarily authors, but anyone who's trying to sell anything, a product or a service, this is kind of like the truth pill that I've seen enough to be able to pick up on that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge, which is that it's likely not going to keep selling if it's not good. I love chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake, but I don't like every chocolate cake. You know what I'm saying? I have my favorites, and I'm going to keep eating or making those favorites. Creme brulee. My God, do I love creme brulee? But only a very few number of restaurants that I've been to offer it where it's actually warmed up all throughout the entire inside. It's not cold or patchy, throughout. It is so easy to market anything if the thing you're marketing is actually good. Well, Lauren, that's extremely subjective, and you would be right. Marketing is extremely subjective. Different arts or things or services or whatever that you're making, a lot of it depends on what is it that you're highlighting here, and also who do you want to buy it, and making sure both of those things line up. I don't know if you've ever sat on your front porch and watched a storm roll through like your local Midwestern marketer over here, but one thing that happens in order for lightning to hit is that 2 signals from the sky and the ground have to hit in order for that lightning bolt to happen. I've used that analogy before, but it's the same thing. Make a great product and it's easy to talk about. It's easy to advertise. It's easy to market. Same thing with your services. If you have a really great offer versus if you're really disorganized or scattered across lots of different little things, you have 5 offers as opposed to maybe 1 or 2 signature offers, that's going to make it harder to market, because if I have a hard time understanding who you are and what you do, it's going to make my job a whole lot easier trying to convince other people that they should buy it when I don't even know what you do. I've got a client that I love. We've been working together for almost a year. He's awesome. It is a phenomenal partnership, and I've had a lot of fun working with him because we teach each other stuff all the time. And I wish I could take credit for this, but I really can't. I can take some, but not all of it. But this client of mine is a very successful author. He managed private portfolios as a self-employed guy, managing over $110 million in assets. I don't say that to brag. I say that more for a social credibility factor, so you listen to me. He wrote a book explaining all of his methodologies and how he made all of this money on his own through investments. And it's targeted to those nearing retirement or those in retirement. These are people that usually have a little extra cash to spend and they want to know like how they can get the most bang for their buck and all that stuff. If that sounds interesting, regardless of your age, I'm going to link that book below just because it's so good. But the point that I'm making here is that he took decades worth of experience, both personal and business experience, threw it all into a book, had it ghostwritten. She wrote it down really, really well on paper in a very narrative story format so it wouldn't come across as all dry and crusty like other finance books out there. And he's managed to sell 8,000 copies in about 2 years. Like I said, I wish I could take credit for that, but I really can't. I would love to, but it would be dishonest of me. It's really, really fun to market because this guy knew that he made something that was worth reading. And I know this because I co-launched an online community with him where we monetized pretty darn quickly within the 6 months that it's been open. And it's really easy for other people to want to pay for that kind of community where they can get real-time results, spew off some ideas and questions with other investors, with other professionals, with the author himself. Like, it's so cool and so immersive, and it's easy to market that kind of stuff because it's really good. But Lauren, how do you know if something is really good? If there's anything that I've learned about being on the internet since childhood, it's that strangers don't lie. A lot of it is about feedback. And if you're looped up in your own little bubble, hoping to make $7,000 a day off of this thing, you can do that, but it doesn't always mean that your perception is going to be the accurate one. Why? Because it's really, really easy, I've said this before, for your nose to get super close to the painting, and then you don't know if it's actually good or if it's just your bias saying that it's good. Don't ask your mom. Don't ask your maid of honor. Don't ask your cousin or your friend. They're going to tell you it's great because they like you, or maybe they don't and they'll say it's bad either way. I don't know. You want unbiased, objective feedback, and where you get that is going to vary depending on what it is that you're making, whatever it is that you're trying to sell. Now, there's other people out there who are really good salespeople, and they can make something really bad sound really good. I think of Danny DeVito as the snake oil car salesman in Matilda. Whenever I think of that kind of persona, like, hey, I'm going to get you a great deal. This is a top line Buick LaCrosse, 2,000 miles on it. It is an '07, and then it's like running on nails and sawdust. I just personally don't feel good about that. That's such a weird comparison. I personally don't feel good about that. So if I'm trying to sell something, usually I'm pretty straightforward about it because I value transparency. I know that other people value transparency. Sometimes I shoot myself in the foot because I don't hype it up as much as I probably should, but I'm digressing here. The root of this whole spiel that I'm doing is that anything worth doing and doing well is going to take time. And I think that the art of patience is slowly being lost just because everything is so instant nowadays. Your internet is in your back pocket. It's on your phone. The teachers used to say, oh, you're not going to be carrying a calculator around with you. Well, joke's on them. I can pull my calculator out right now and figure out how much to tip my waitress. And the rule of thumb, I don't know how this applies to business, but the rule of thumb with at least writing a book, though, is that the more sick and tired you get of reading your own stuff, the closer you are to publication. If you're still like new and doe-eyed and sparkly-eyed about the thing that you're doing, it's most likely not ready. The thing that you're making in the beginning is going to suck. Even if you think it's halfway decent, it still is going to suck compared to where it could be if you put in a little more time and attention, and most importantly, got feedback on it. I got a little bit of a taste of this when I read Andrew Kagan's book. What is it called? I read it last summer. I think it was called $1 Million Weekend. It's got a bright green cover on it. I mean, you can't really miss it. I don't know much about Andrew Kagan. He's more into like the product side of business. I don't really personally jive with him, but some of the content in his book was pretty good. And that's one of the things that he was saying is that if you're starting something, whatever it is, a product, a business, a book, whatever, throw it out there. I mean, I'm someone who's a perfectionist, so it's really easy for me to be like, no, wait, stop, don't look at it. It's not done yet. But you know what? When you're starting out, it's so freaking low stakes to begin with because maybe you don't have an audience, maybe you don't have a ton of money to work with and you're bootstrapping it like your homegirl here. Throw it out there, right? Because if it's way better. I'll tell you this from experience. It is way better to throw something out there that you've spent 2 hours on versus perfecting something for 100 hours. Your audience or whoever pays attention out there saying that they don't like it, and then having to go back to the drawing board again. That is 100 hours lost versus maybe 2. I mean, if someone hacked your bank account, like someone definitely didn't do to my business account recently, just hypothetically, if someone did, would you rather they steal $300 or $3,000? Obviously the first, right? When you're starting out with something, if you're making something, if you want to market something and you're not sure if it's good, I think the hardest part is just catching yourself as early on as you can in the beginning, getting extremely self-aware, practicing that, and just being open-minded to other people's suggestions, even if they're not all compliments from your mom or your aunt or your dog or your neighbor. Throw something crappy out there, and then it's way easier to build on, as long as the idea is good. There's a need for it, and not just a need, but a niche need, because I think, the riches are in the niches, or is what they say. Niches, niches, I don't know, however you say it. Is this a problem? That's honestly the root question to anything that you make. What kind of problem are you solving? Again, this is in the context of like entrepreneurship and stuff. Even if you are an author writing a book about something, fiction or nonfiction, but probably fiction or nonfiction in this instance, I mean, that is kind of like the common denominator in all of this, is what problem are you solving? And not just a problem for you, a problem that maybe you and a lot of other people are experiencing. It could be a very broad problem, in which case, how are you going to crack that code, make a name, carve out a little corner of the internet for yourself to sell this thing? Or how are you going to solve a very particular problem that other people are facing that people outside of that niche maybe don't know are a problem? When I kind of was getting my brand up and going, I'm not going to say business, but my brand, my Lauren Erickson brand, it's been around for, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years. I started out talking a lot about books, the business of books. People things people don't know about the business of books, about what to do if you want to get your book traditionally published. I'm someone who got my book traditionally published through a small press here in the Chicago area. My book's called The Finer Things Club. It was before I started my business, so it's not related, but it's about working in Yellowstone National Park as a young adult, as a housekeeper, cleaning toilets for $9 an hour. I mean, my biggest question that I know other people had was, how do I target my efforts as much as I can so that I can make this thing happen and get that big, glowing, golden almighty book deal? I sunk tons of research into writing blogs and making videos and making content around that kind of thing. I would talk about, do blurbs really matter on a book cover? How do you get a traditional book publishing deal? How do you network with agents? How do you get on Reese Witherspoon's book club list? I mean, these are all questions that I had that I know other people had. I tested that idea by making long form content about it on YouTube. If you check out some of my older stuff, you'll see that it's stuff that I used to talk about. Some of my videos did pretty well, so that tells me that there was an interest in it. Throw something out there, see what people think about it. I don't care what medium it is. It could be ads, it could be YouTube videos, it could be blog content, it could be podcast stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things, I'll be honest, there's a lot of things that kind of have to work out for you to kind of rise above the noise. I don't say that to be a defeatist, but I say that to be a realist, because you have to think about, what is it that you're talking about or trying to sell or promote or market? Like, what are you trying to start a conversation around, really? Does it solve a problem? Does it solve a problem that needs to be solved? Who are you talking to, and where do they hang out? And it's just kind of like all the colors of the rainbow. I've never seen a rainbow with just yellow and blue in it. It's like you have to have all the colors in order for it to like show through or whatever. I really don't know if this was worth anything. I just saw that ad and was like, boy, I should probably talk about that. So, do ads work? They can, but I'm not going to say it's going to work for everyone. If you've heard of success stories, have you ever seen that movie, He's Just Not That Into You? Okay, well, if you haven't, it's a chick flick, so that's probably maybe why you haven't heard of it or haven't watched it. But there's this protagonist, and she goes, oh, my friend Shelly, she dated a guy once, and they broke up for 10 years, and then they got back together, and then they got married, then they had kids, and this other guy that she's talking to is like, yeah, okay, she's the exception. You're not the exception, you're the norm. You're the norm. Just because ads worked out for that person over there and they had wild success, like $7,000 a day, doesn't mean that it's going to work out for you in the exact same way where you're making $7,000 a day. Everyone has their own version of success. Do you actually want $7,000 a day? Yeah, I do, but I don't really wake up thinking about it, I wake up thinking about, can I one day afford the name brand cereal? That's my definition of success. Can I wake up one day and be able to afford name brand snacks? My God, that's its own budget on its own. So that was something. I hope you got something out of it. Like I said, leave your comments below. Check out my stuff in the description. If you're into this kind of thing, consider subscribing if you haven't already. I got a newsletter, all that stuff. It's in the description. I have a proposal that I've been working on for a while, and I'm just procrastinating, so I should get back to that. But I will talk to you later. Have a good one.